All right, so I apologize for that. Again, I am not an expert at this. If you're watching this, hopefully you were watching the first video, but we left off with the end nippers that I got there. This here, this putty knife, I have had this forever. It's an all metal putty knife, and you can see that's been beat up. I grind on it with a sander to clean all the stuff off of it, and I clean all this stuff with brake clean. I find that works best. I actually bought this at a hardware store that no longer exists. It was a chain in Rhode Island called Benny's. And, oh, they had everything. They had, tools. They had tools. They had automotive. You could buy sporting goods there, like fishing poles and clam rakes and stuff like that. They were nice. But they don't exist anymore. So I'm kind of nervous if anything, ever happens. And you can see I kind of use this as a chisel sometimes. That's why I like it so much, because it's all metal and you can tap on it. But if anything happens to it, I have no idea where I'm going to get another one. Which, not too pleased with that. I miss Benny's. I liked Benny's. A lot of people like Benny's, and we miss them. Anyway, moving on. Here we go. Moving on. So this little pouch here, for years, I was actually a landscaper, and I kept a pair of snips, like for pruning snips in there, and it rode around in the side door pocket of my dad's dump truck for a long, long time, and I needed it to put stuff in on my tool belt, so I grabbed it. The things that'll go in there, if I'm doing a lot of demo, I'll throw a cat's paw in there, and it stays nice. Occasionally I'll put a combination square in there, but I'm not really using those a lot. Most of what I do in a speed square, but we'll get to that. Most of the time, I keep these in there, a pair of tin snips. And, turn them over. Those are good for cut and drip edge, and not that particular pair, but I use them to cut shingles, too. I have a rough pair, like a beat-up pair, that I use for that. So that's what that little pouch there is for. Most of the time, though, it's just empty in case I need to put something in it. And it's also nice because I can do this with it. This, my impact gun. I can take this, and I got to get more of these clips and put one on that drill. But I can take this and I can hang it on here. Like if I'm going up a ladder, I don't have to hold it. So moving over to this pouch, all of the nails that we use for siding and trim are all, they have a 5/16 head on them. So a lot of guys in these tool belt videos, they say that, oh, I carry nail sets. This is my nail set. It's a 5/16 punch. And what I like about this is, like, if the siding isn't set up right, like if you didn't set it up right, or the frame shifted when you nailed it, rather than pulling all that off, put that right on top, hit it, punch the nail all the way through, and you can pull it up, and you can just move the siding and nail where you want it. That's the quickest way to do it. And then you just put a little wood putty over it. I mean, you're painting them anyway. Up here, I love this. I didn't like these. I thought they were, I used to like these old Stanley Powerlock ones. My father used those for years. And I picked up one of these. It was snowing like crazy, and we were putting up pictures in the house when we moved in. And one of these, actually this one, was in the house, and I picked it up, and I said, oh, I need a tape measure. I don't want to go outside because it's snowing. Yeah, I know. Make fun of me if you want. But I picked this up, and what I like about this is this blade on it. Look at how big this thing is. Look at how big that is. That's like it. I think it's an inch and a half, something. It's an inch, I think. I can see that. I've gotten older, and they're too small for me to see. So at 35 years old, I need a bigger tape measure. And this thing holds up, too. I mean, I've had this fire truck going by out there. They went by earlier. I've had this for a couple of years now, and you can see it's been beat up, it's been dropped, it's been kicked around. I got another one in my truck. It came in a 2-pack. Got another one in my truck that I keep in case this one ever, decides to stop working on a job, but so far so good. And that just goes right in here. I'm a tape measure on the left guy because I'm going to be writing with my right hand because I'm right-handed. So the tape measure goes in there, and right above it is my speed square. I did not know all of the things that could be done with this when I first bought one from Harbor Freight. I have nothing against that one. I have a couple of them now, and this is the one that stays in my tool belt. I can do a video. A lot of guys have done videos on how to use them. I can do one too, but you can do so much with these. You can do rafters with these. You can do different pitches, different types of rafters. You can do regular rafters. You can do hip and valley rafters. Actually, I don't know if you can see it, but maybe you can. Yeah, you can see that. My garage, I don't know how to do these kind of rafters. Maybe I'll figure it out during the channel, during the isolation. Maybe that's something we'll do. I can figure out how to do those, and we can do a video, and you can see me stumble my way through that. That'd be fun. You can see a guy who's dressed like he's Amish swear. But yeah, I love this thing. I use it for a lot of different things. You use it. Obviously, you can use it like that, and that's 90 degrees, but it's also a protractor, and you can turn it. So that's the pivot point. You pivot off of that, and you put whatever angle you want down here. I'm pointing to the back of the camera to try and explain this to you. That shows how good I am at this. So these are the angles. This is the pivot point. And you just put that angle on the edge of the board, and when you make your mark, you make your line, you will have that angle. I'll make a better video on that because I know that was really kind of a lame explanation of that. But again, this is a Harbor Freight tool belt. Well, the bags are, and they're like I said, they were $20 a piece, $25 a piece. They do eventually wear out, but it's actually a good thing because when they do, I don't know if you can see it. I got a bunch of screws in there because I was building a rabbit hutch. When the thing wears out down here, when the stitching wears out, you can push the speed square in better. So I actually once it wore out, I liked it even more. They do, like, it's single stitched, but like all of this fell apart. You can see in there I've got it held together with zip ties, but it works. I mean, it works. So I keep using it. I think one of the places where it, like the tunnel, I think one of these is held together. Yeah, this one is held together with zip ties too. So that's pretty much everything that I keep in my tool belt on a daily basis. Like if I'm doing, sometimes we'll do electrical, and like I said, I'm not an electrician, but my boss is, and a lot of times it's him doing like the complicated electrical stuff and me putting in outlets. So this stuff will get changed out for linesman's pliers, needle nose, like a pair of strippers thing. And I can do a video on that too if anybody wants. Maybe I'll do it just because I'm bored. But that's the tool belt that I use. The power tools that I use the most are these Milwaukee. The M18s. I like these. They do the job, and they got enough power. I'm not driving a lot of screws and drilling a lot of holes. So these meet my needs. They meet my needs very nicely. And here's the drill. I actually bought, so the drill itself, I bought, some guy on the Facebook Craigslist was selling it. He wanted 20 bucks for it. So I said, yeah, all right. So I went and I got it, and the next day I was drilling holes for lag bolts, and this thing just completely seized up. It was all plastic. So there's a place here in, actually in the city that I grew up in Warwick, that fixes power tools. So the guy told me, he says, well, you know, how much did you pay for it? I said, I paid 20 bucks for it. He said, all that's wrong with it is the chuck, and I can put a chuck on it for 40 bucks. So he put a chuck on it. It's a nice heavy duty. It's all metal. He put a new chuck on it, and I've never had problems with it since. And in fact, this is a much better chuck than was on there. And of course, I'm cutting wood all day, so these are tools that I occasionally use. My main power tool that I use all day long is this here, the Skill Saw Mag 77. I'll be honest with you, I did not know much about carpentry when I bought this saw. I bought it because Essential Craftsman used it, and I know I sound silly, and I don't care. You guys are going to learn from me being silly. And I tell you what, I don't ever want to use another circular saw. I've used this for 2 years, and this thing is great. This is a worm drive saw. It's nice and powerful. It goes through pressure-treated wood, no problem. I can stack up 2x4s, and actually the jig is at the shop at work, so I can't show you. But I got a jig, and I'll stack 2x4s on top of each other. I'll measure once, mark once, cut with that, and because the blade will hang down, it'll go into the next 2x4. So every time I make a cut, I'm making a mark on the next one underneath. That saw is really good for that because it's nice and strong. I've cut, and I didn't realize I was doing it because we were taking apart. So somebody built a foundation years ago, and then they just put a roof over it, and it was their lake house. And they had all this this pressure-treated sill on it that had rotted out. It shows you how old it was. And I'm cutting to make cuts with that. And the next thing I know, I look down, I'm cutting a 1/2 inch into concrete with a wood blade on that thing, and it's not even bogging down. I mean, it chewed up the blade, but whatever. It went through it, and it's great. You do have to change the oil in it. Maybe I'll do a video on that. That'd be kind of fun. But oh, I love that saw. It's a little bit heavier, but it's worth it because it's got the power. These are not all the tools that I use, but they're the tools that I bring and use most frequently. They provide the nail guns, the compressors, and there's a table saw there that we use. But this is my stuff that I use, that I was using to make money before the whole shutdown. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this helps anybody who's sitting there going, you know, what do I put in a tool belt? Maybe you're going to be starting this kind of work. Maybe you're just curious what guys carry. I still watch these things to amuse myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry that it's in 2 parts. I pushed something and I didn't know what I was doing. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope wherever you're watching this, you're comfortable and God is with you. Thank you.